Bishop Heelan currently sits at 6-1 on the season after picking up a big win over the Boynton Hole Rock Valley Nighthawks on Friday. Now the Crusaders, they get their final 2 games at home, and joining us this week on Coach's Corner is their head coach, John LaFleur. I want to thank you for being here, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Herb.
Absolutely. So let's kind of start with, Friday. How do you think that game kind of played out? Pretty big win for you guys.
Yeah, we got out of the gates really well and went up 28-0 early in the first quarter. And, the kids might have maybe settled back a little bit after that and maybe not done as much, but credit to Boynton Hole as well. They made some good checks and got back to where they wanted to get and play a little better football in that second quarter, third quarter, moving on. And, credit to our guys. We got the job done. As a coach, you're never fully satisfied with where they're at and everything. But, understand that we have a pretty big game this week and looking forward to what we have ahead of us.
And in that game, there was a school record tying field goal. Kind of walk us through how that kind of came to be.
Well, Dylan Carnes is the kid you're talking about. He's never played football before this year, was on the state championship soccer team, has a tremendous leg. We talked him into coming out, and he really doesn't know what he's doing, to be perfectly honest with you, but that's good for a kicker, so you just tell him to go out there and kick it. And he's been pretty consistent with that 50 to 55 yard plus area during practice. So, in high school football, worst case scenario, kick goes into the end zone, it's a touchback, they get the ball at the 20, so why not give it a chance, and see him nail that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. And coming into this season, you guys kind of had quite the hole to fill at the quarterback position, one of the most important positions on the football field. Walk us through how your team has kind of adapted to what you guys have been doing there.
Well, we're fortunate to have Noah Conley transfer in, but he just became eligible 2 weeks ago because of the 90-day transfer rule. So in the meantime, Carson Fitch filled in admirably, did a really nice job for us. Our offense, there's no question what we want to do. We want to be able to run the ball, and fortunately Carson was able to do a few things, be able to throw the ball, and now we have Noah in there, and I think Noah's just trying to kind of fill out some of our offense and getting a feeling of what we want to do. He's getting better every week, and I think it's obviously not Quinn Olson, because Quinn was a pretty special player, but Noah has his really good attributes in his own right.
Absolutely. When you talk about, what you guys like to do offensively and defensively, kind of walk the people through that who are sitting there at home watching this. When Heelan takes the field, what are you guys looking to do?
Well, our philosophy is, to be able to run the ball and play really sound defense. And if you can do those two things and take care of the ball and create turnovers, those things usually formulate for pretty good success. We obviously big plays and all those other things, they can happen. But we run the ball, play good defense, and usually a lot of good things will happen.
To do those things, you have to have talented athletes on both sides of the ball. Kind of walk us through who some of the key playmakers are for you guys on both sides of the ball.
Well, I think first and foremost, you always hear about Cason Thomas. He's a pretty special athlete, pretty amazing kid. Has a lot of opportunity ahead in a couple years, getting some Division I looks. He makes coaches look really smart by being able to give him the ball. He makes plays, and then conversely on the other side of the ball as well. But we've got guys like Hayden Overgaard, who is probably an unsung hero. He plays both. He plays our nose guard position and offensive tackle, and boy, he really makes things tick up front with some of those big uglies. And we truly are a true team. I know Cason is maybe the star of the team as far as getting the most headlines, but we have a lot of contributors on both sides that just understand their role and really fit in and do it to the best of their ability.
And you got a tough one coming up on Friday against SBL. Kind of walk us through, what you expect from that one.
Well, Coach Smith, as a great coach, understands the game extremely well, has a great staff down there. He's really turned that program around in a short period of time. Not that they were down very far, but went back to his roots, so to speak, and he's going to play a physical style of ball, one that's going to, be really trying for us to be able to stop them. They like to run the ball. So we'll challenge our kids this week to see if they can be physical enough to take on that opportunity. But it's going to be a great atmosphere. I believe it's for the district championship. It's what football is all about in late October for high school, and we're just really looking forward to it.
Walk me through just, one or two of the biggest challenges that you've had this season that you kind of felt your boys have handled properly.
Well, probably the biggest thing is we had such a tremendous senior class last year. To find that those kids that would step up and be those leaders, finding the leadership that we had last year would be tough to try to replicate. However, we've had some kids step up, and not just seniors as well, but juniors and even a few sophomores have stepped into that role and really been team leaders. And they're still growing into those roles, even though we're, at week 8 in the season. But that was probably the biggest question mark, was finding who was going to be the leader, who was going to be the guy that kind of brings things together on the team. And I think as a whole, as a group collectively, they've done a nice job at that.
And you've been coaching for quite some time. Kind of walk me through what motivates you and what's the most fulfilling part of what you do as a coach?
The most fulfilling part is just seeing the growth of the young men, and seeing how well they can learn, listen. Working at Heelan, we've worked with kids with really great character. We normally don't have a lot of problems with kids with any type of issues, and God, they just really take to what you say as a coach, and to see them have some success, especially after where Heelan had been the previous few years, to see them experience that success is just quite fulfilling.
Absolutely, and obviously, like we talked about, you got a couple more games left in the regular season, and every team and every coach doesn't want to get caught looking ahead, but when you look to postseason possibilities, what are you hoping to do? Obviously, coming off a runner-up finish last year, what are you hoping to kind of accomplish in the postseason this year? Granted you get there.
Well, we got to get there first. And, obviously, I think, like I said, it's for the district championship. Our goal was to win the district this year. That's still on the table in front of us, albeit a very big challenge. But get to the playoffs, and, once you get there, anything can happen. Last year wasn't expected by any means, the run we were fortunate to make. And, hopefully we can get there. Not really looking ahead about anything other than Friday. I know we're not looking ahead to anything other than Friday night. And so, if it happens, it happens. But our minds are solely focused on Sergeant Bluff.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have on Coach's Corner today. I want to thank you, Coach LaFleur, one more time for stopping in and talking some Heelan football.
You bet. Thanks for having us.
You bet.